Hello and welcome to the brand new show On the Road With. My name's Gareth and I'll be your host. Thank you so much for joining me. I'll be talking to a lot of different touring professionals in the performing arts industries, the entertainment industry, about what touring means to them, the different people they've worked with, how they got into it in the first place, and what it means for their mental health. I've got some great, really exciting guests lined up for you on this first series. And this guest is absolutely no different. She's a really good friend of mine. I've got massive personal and professional respect for her, and I've worked with her for a number of years now. She was the final female singer in the beautiful South and the current singer in the South. She's also got a lot of jazz-related projects on of her own that we'll talk about during the interview. So please sit back and enjoy my conversation with Alison Wheeler. Ali, thanks for doing this.
No worries. How are you doing?
Yeah, not too bad. Obviously, a lot of time spending doing this. I bet family life's sort of running things for you at the minute, is it?
Yeah, it's a test, isn't it, having the family on top of you permanently. I'm sure I look back at it with golden memories, but yeah, it has its moments. So we're kind of isolating ourselves within the house to keep our distance and save ourselves going absolutely mental.
It's 24/7, isn't it? It's a bit different to usual.
Yeah, and not being able to get out with the kids over Easter has been a bit of a shocker, really.
Yeah, I've heard that from other other musicians we work with have said that it's the kids are getting a bit stir crazy at the moment. So I'd like to start the interview a bit different to how a lot of podcast interviews that I've heard go, and a lot of them say, right, let's take it right back to the beginning, and that's can be a good strategy to look back. But I'm one for looking forward really, and looking at the current situation. We'll get on to how COVID-19 has affected the touring industry, how it's decimated it. Just want to talk about what you're doing at the minute. It's obviously more for the benefit of listeners than me, I guess, because I'm involved in a lot of what you're doing at the minute myself. But yeah, just to talk about the stuff, where you're at the moment in terms of tour commitments, projects that involve touring.
Removing ourselves from the COVID situation.
Just talk as if we're in completely normal times. Nothing's wrong at all.
Well, I've been playing with yourself, like you're saying, for 10 years now as the South, and
I've only been involved since 2012, though. I'm not as haggard as you guys on that on that score.
Yeah, and we've had the most amazing ride. It's been a wonderful experience, celebrating a brilliant back catalogue of music by the beautiful South, and reaching out to all the far corners of the UK, really, and getting out and about. So, the whole of this year, Touchwood is shaping up to be very active with lots of touring throughout the UK, and then the summer festivals as well. So it's been a slow build, I think, to get to this stage, but I think we've got a really nice, strong, supportive network of fans now, and who make a bit of a pilgrimage every year to come and see the band. So we're really appreciative of that and very fortunate.
Yeah, I mean, Home Firth is definitely got that pilgrimage feel about it, isn't it? At Christmas, people sort of, and it's a big social event for all of us, us and the fans. It's a big thing in the calendar. I definitely get a feeling it's like a family get together almost.
That's it. I mean, if you think of our demographic, if you think most of the people who follow the band, the kind of age range varies, but the majority of people are 40 plus, and they're kind of not worrying about what people think about them anymore. No kind of politics in that respect. So they're just out to have a good time, and it's a big drinking culture, as you know. People are out to have a bit of a party when they come to see us, which always makes for a great night.
And the songs are quite uniting, aren't they? Like you look at something like One Last Love Song, and everyone kind of joins together and sways. And you've got some other big numbers there that mean a lot to people and have played a big role in their lives. That's something that I've gathered through my time. Obviously, being slightly younger than that demographic that you just described, it took a while for me to get how much the songs meant to people.
Yeah, I think that's testimony to Paul and Dave Rothery for their writing. Their penmanship it's phenomenal, and it's stood the test of time, and it touches people and speaks to people. Everybody's got some kind of story that they want to relay to you when they meet you, and I remember this song because this happened in my life, and it stuck with them. And and they haven't aged, I don't think. I think they've stood the test of time, and Little Time sounds as good as it did the day it was released. So I think the recipe that he has for writing great songs with really witty lyrics, and it just seems to reach out and communicate and relate to people. So people are obviously making the connection and enjoy the music.
Yeah, absolutely. And you've taken some of those songs, which we're going to play one shortly. You've taken some of those songs into your career as or with Southern Beauty, haven't you? The new project.
Yeah. So I enjoy singing. It's my lifeline. It's what I want to do for the rest of my life. So I'm trying to think of avenues to go down as I reach those silver-haired years of aging.
Yours will probably be pink when you reach those silver hair years, or blue, or I don't know.
Oh, I don't think I'll be a blue rinse.
Like Hammy said, she's gone for the Boris tonight. Remember that when we were out at Southampton?
But I have always loved jazz, and I was introduced to jazz through my husband many, many years ago. And as you know, I've been fortunate to work with you on your projects, and I just always had it niggling under my skin that I wanted to take the Beautiful South back catalogue and try and transfer it into a new style, a new genre, and then hopefully extend its shelf life and also expand it to a new audience, new listeners who might not necessarily go down the pop road of listening to pop bands from the 80s. So Southern Beauty was born, and that's basically a three-piece, and we take Beautiful South back catalogue along with classic jazz standards as well, and we perform them. We're very early stages at the moment. We've done a few gigs. We've got our kind of electric press kit ready, and we've got our website ready, and I was about to embrace the whole marketing campaign, get out, make some phone calls, meet people, shake hands, but obviously it's all been put on hold for now, and who knows where that's going to go in the next few months. But we've been very fortunate, and it's a talented pianist called Phil Southgate, and
he's good, isn't
vocalist, a lovely vocalist called Philippa Lee, and she also plays the ukulele, which kind of brings an interesting edge to it. And they've even made me jump in and start playing the ukulele, which is a sight to behold.
So Philippa sings as well, then?
She's got a velvet voice, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Classically trained as an opera singer, but then she rediscovered jazz and has gone down that road now. And beautiful, absolutely stunning voice.
Okay, I didn't know that bit. So with Southern Beauty, then, so one of the songs that you do, it's one I've not heard yet actually, because I remember you sent me over some stuff when we were preparing for the Christmas show at the Brook, and we were looking at ideas. And you sent me over some versions of Beautiful South songs that you guys had done, but I don't think this was one that you had done at the time, or you didn't send it to me. But it's, I'll let you introduce it.
So this is one of my favourites, quite up-tempo and a happy song, Pretenders to the Throne.
Is it Cologne with its great cathedral, Milan with its glamour and its pace, London with its river and its bridges, Lisbon with its beauty and its grace? Funny looking buses climb its pot-bellied hills, and a solitary jogger time to time he kills. Do you know where I'm gonna go? None of you have guessed, so none of you can know. If you've been, it's not where I mean. It's got class and it's got excellence like you've never seen. Your town is dragging me down. It's dragging me down, down, down. Your town is dragging me down. It's dragging me down, down, down. Dublin with its culture and its wit, Madrid with its market square, Paris with its bustling cafes, or Hull with its musical flair. Do you know where I'm gonna go? None of you have guessed, so none of you can know. If you've been, it's not where I mean. It's got class and it's got excellence like you've never seen. Your town is dragging me down. It's dragging me down, down, down. Your town is dragging me down. It's dragging me as I watch them drop that grain into your fish tank brain. How can you like this place when it never even rains? Oh, never even rains. Oh, your town is dragging me down, it's dragging me down, down, down. Your town is dragging me down, it's dragging me down, down, down. Oh, oh, it's dragging me down, down, down. Yeah, 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 yeah. It's dragging me down, down, down. Whoa, it's dragging me down, down, down.
Great, thanks for that, Ali. That's a cool version you've got there, actually. And I see what you mean about the songs kind of translating into pretty much any genre, really. I remember we were in a sound check and we were, well, I can't remember what tune it was. Might have been Let Love Speak Up Itself, and Dave, being Dave, always winding people up and having a laugh. He turned it into a reggae number, and but it worked. You know, we got a recording of it on the desk because we were doing some live recording that night, and it worked. And I think a good song, it's the same with the jazz standards as well. When they're taken by like the likes of Jamie Cullum, or the other way around, he's taken, you know, hip hop songs or pop songs or whatever and put them into jazz. They only really work if they're great songs, if they're well structured and they've got all the ingredients of a great song.
Yeah, and I've really enjoyed taking some and really the chorus and the basic top line is there, but it's hidden so well in the songs, and I can see people really racking their brains like, I know this song, why do I know this song? And then you get to the chorus and the relief on their faces, they realise it's Perfect 10 or it's Don't Marry Her, and we've just managed to take it and turn it into a completely different style.
Yeah, one of the things I'm looking forward to about when we next gig together in terms of my stuff is the and on the, I was going to talk to you about it before we came on air actually, but I will do afterwards, is the album launch for the next one is doing some beautiful South stuff, in particularly Rotterdam, with a big band and a string section and all that. And I think that's going to be a new challenge again to get that sounding right and interpreted, but not too far away from the original. In that sense,
I'm all in, Gareth.
Yeah. No, well, I like how when we're on the road, we talk about, we kind of update each other on how our new projects are going. You know, that's something I look forward to on that. So the current situation with the South, then obviously it's all kind of on hold. I think we were quite lucky in that we managed to get some gigs in that other people maybe didn't before it all kind of locked down. I was hoping we'd get that week. We had a week, didn't we, 4 nights on the trot that got pulled, and that was a real shame. But we managed to get some gigs in that maybe other bands didn't.
Yeah, and I dread to think going into a gig how many ever months down the road we're looking at without having gig this year. It would have been a real shame. It's lovely just to get back out there after, what was it, 6-8 weeks break after the Christmas and the autumn tour. We were really fortunate, and it was just on the cusp. People were starting to make noise whether or not we should be going out, and I agree. We were acting on recommendations of the government at the time, and the following week it was all shut down.
Yeah, it was a real tough time. That first week when, I mean, I've stopped. I don't know about you, but I've stopped kind of totting up the amount of money I've lost through this because it just depresses you, and I just kind of try and look at the positives in that it gives me more time. I mean, I've been saying to you for ages about wanting to do a podcast and a radio show, and it's actually given me time to invest in getting those things right, and I've always tried to look at the positives with it, really. And if you look at it purely financially, it's a real depressing picture, isn't it?
Yeah, there's so many little videos floating out there at the moment. There's a great one that puts a positive spin on the whole situation, and one of the key sentences is, so many entrepreneurs are going to have moments of calmness and stillness that they're going to be able to be creative for the first time in years, because obviously the humdrum of everyday life isn't happening for us all. But yeah, I do feel for all of these forgotten industries, the waiters and the restaurateurs and all these industries that are going to be the last ones to recover from this, including the entertainment industry. It's a shocking situation for everybody, and Yeah, when I can get my head around the Gov recommendations, I'll be applying for my self-employed help.
Yeah, same here. So the Beautiful South days, which, like I say, I think a lot of interviewers, correct me if I'm wrong, ones you've done in the past, they maybe start with that, let's go back to the beginning kind of thing, or the beginning in terms of how I know you. So you were the last female singer in the original Beautiful South lineup.
Yeah, so I started working with them back in 2002. It was a series of fortunate events, and it frustrates me when people say you're so lucky, but you knock on enough doors and one of them eventually opens.
Yeah,
so I
that's
was
right.
working full time, and I was also doing 3 or 4 different projects on the go, just on the hope that something might come. And being in a gospel choir, 3 of us, I was with them for almost 3 years, and 3 of us got asked to do a session for Dave Hemingway, and he was working on a solo album at the time, and he took me to one side and said, I think your voice would really suit the Beautiful South. Would you like me to recommend you? And that was obviously the easiest question to answer. And it took me a nanosecond to say, yes, please.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
And I didn't hear anything for a while, and I just presumed it was dead in the water. But I now know within this particular group, or within the music industry, it doesn't always move as quickly as you'd like. And months and months went by, and I'd gone on holiday with my husband and some friends, and it was, I think I just turned 32 or 30, and I think I was saying, okay, it might be time just to put this to bed now.
Yeah.
I've been trying for so long. Got home, and there was a letter on the floor from Paul, and I wish I'd kept it. I must try and find it.
Try and frame that.
Yeah, he'd done little animations all around the outside, and just saying, look, I trust Dave Hemingway's judgment. If he says you can sing, I know you can. So it's really important you come and meet the band and get on with the band. Having lost 2 female vocalists in the past, I want to make sure that you're happy. And I went and met the band, and I was in full working mode, which is really hard when you're working full time.
And what were you doing job wise?
I was temping, but I had she said, with white and purple hair. I had really stupid hair back then, like really ridiculously coloured reds, greens, purples, blues. It was all over, and nobody would employ me, even though I was quite a good secretary. So nobody would employ me. So Nick Hayward, I was working doing some stuff with a producer, and he was in the room at the time, and I was just lamenting about how hard it was to make ends meet. And he went, there's an agency that supply record companies. And I was like, what? So I was fortunate then to go and register with this agency, and they've treated me so well. I worked with them for about 4 or 5 years. Like anything, prove that you're worth your weight in gold, and then they'll just bend over backwards to get you good jobs. And I had the fortune of working for the most amazing people. I worked in Parlophone for Keith Worthencroft, who's the head of Parlophone. I worked for him. I worked for head of sales at EMI. I worked in the executive level for BMG. I worked in A&R at Arista, which was amazing because you get to see the other side of the coin. There I was
just about to say that, yeah.
Yeah. You spend this time imagining it as some kind of ethereal castle in the clouds that is unattainable, but then when you actually hang out with these people who are the decision makers, you realize it's potluck. It's tastemakers making choices about people's careers, and if you don't particularly ring their bell, then that's it. You got that avenue's closed. But that's not to say it's not a good song or it's not a good project to invest in. It's just the right person at the right time, and I saw that in action. I saw songs being picked up as cassettes out of piles and piles of demos. I know. And some guy next to me saying, I really think this has got legs. A complete no background, no success today. And they took it, and it became the song that Dane Bowers and Victoria Beckham released.
Oh, blimey.
But good for that writer. It obviously gave him an introduction into the music industry. And I had the most wonderful time, and because I was temping and I worked in marketing, and I worked for Simon Cowell, for Pop Idol, and if you prove that you work hard, then they would let me have time off for auditions or to go and do stuff regarding singing.
Well, I guess they understood, because they were in the business themselves, that when you when you get the call for an audition or for to go meet a band or to, a recording session or a gig, whatever it is, that you can't say no on those calls. I'm always saying to the Brastards guys when we've had festivals come in, and it's a bit of a logistical nightmare for us to do it for whatever reason, and they're always saying, "Oh, I'll just knock it on the head, G. Don't bother." And I say, "Look, if we knock it on the head, we won't get asked again." Do you know what I mean? You have to jump at these chances, don't you?
Yeah, I learned that when I was very young, when I called off an audition when I was young, and because I hadn't slept the night before. Obviously, you don't sleep, you're nervous, but I didn't realise at the time what a foolish error that was. And the agent concerned, absolutely laid into me something chronic, because it was relatively new for me. I hadn't yet done many auditions, but you now know, just suck it and just crack on with it. Even if you've not slept, just have a go.
Just give it your best shot. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So I was really fortunate. The longest slot I did was in the marketing department at BMG, and that was fascinating. I worked on Pink's reinvention from soul to that kind of rock edge. That was amazing. Did the first Pop Idol. Saw McFly come through the door and get rejected by Simon Cowell. I mean, you can see all these decisions that were being made along the way. It was
crucial decisions in the history of music. Yeah.
Well, and I was fortunate to be in rooms where you decide where the budget was going for songs being released, and one they'd say, "Oh, this isn't going to do anything. Let's just do a soft release and we'll play out in the clubs." And then lo and behold, it goes straight to number one. You can't judge what's going to happen a lot of the time. And then, just as I was leaving, the whole internet was really starting to blow up, and I remember being in a meeting where they said, "Oh, it's going to be such a small share of the market. Let's not invest a lot of money in it at this stage." And lo and behold, gone are the CDs now, and everybody's streaming rather than buying albums.
Yeah, they are. I mean, it's I'm looking at for my next album, I'm looking at doing, I think I've said to you before, a memory stick or or something like that in terms of something physical that people can buy, because I still think people will want to come away from a gig with something, and but the whole CD thing, I'm really debating on whether it's a valid format. And obviously for bands that can be quite a killer, really, because vinyl's so expensive to produce, and you can make your money back on it, but it takes a long time. The digital thing doesn't always pay great, but it is good for your exposure and for building a fan base, which can then lead to revenue. But you look at CDs, they were a big lifeline, as well as merchandise, T-shirts and stuff. They were a big lifeline for bands, and in terms of selling those. And I remember support bands with the South, we would sell far more merch and CDs than we did.
I know, and I think that's, again, we're back to the demographic thing, and I think the 40-year-old plus still want to have something tactile in their hands. They want to see the artwork, they want to read the credits, and they want to read the lyrics. Even some people are desperate for lyrics a lot of the time, but not necessarily the new generation. So it's a complete turn on the head now. Albums aren't really there for profit, they're there as a marketing tool to get people to come see you live. PR
stunt, really.
I can't believe how much ticket prices have increased now to go and see a band. Go to the O2 and be right at the back and pay 90 quid for it. I just don't understand it. Yeah. I wish somebody could intervene, because it's ridiculously expensive. I just don't know when it happened.
Well, I remember talking to Andy, your husband, and he made me quite jealous, saying that he'd been to see Bublé, and I said, "Oh, the thing is, it's just astronomical." And he said, "Oh no, it's about 80 quid each," and I didn't say at the time, but I remember thinking, it's still, it's probably not great seats. It's still quite pricey, that is. And lo and behold, that's exactly what me and Amy have paid to go and see him in July if it happens. So,
getting people out to see you seems to be the avenue now, and obviously for people who don't know the full situation with record deals, but it's all changed, and now they want a bit of every part of your life, because the avenues for making revenue have changed so much in the last few years. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, just slight related, but on a slight tangent, do you think, when I say about support bands selling more than us and all that kind of thing, do you think it's down to the fact that people see us as a paying tribute to the Beautiful South's back catalogue, rather than as a creative force in our own right? Because you look at what's being sold. Obviously, we're not selling Carry On Up the charts, are we? On our merch stand, we're selling Sweet Refrains. Do you think that kind of plays a part in it, or because those songs are well known among the South audience as well? Pigeonhole and Stick It In and Turn It, they are well known, and they're sing along as well.
Oh, it's a contentious subject. New material.
It is. Yeah,
I'm in the camp that I want to do new material.
So am I. Yeah, we've had a moan about this a few times, haven't we?
It's really hard with the size of the band that we're dealing with to get any kind of a momentum of agreement. I think we have lots of people contact us that are really keen to hear new material.
Yeah.
But you've got to admit that we are nostalgic in our whole band. The whole point is celebrating the back catalogue. People come out because they want to relive those happy memories.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I feel it would be more constructive and productive if we could produce new music as well. People are always going to compare it to the Beautiful South, which is just unavoidable.
Yeah.
But I still think I would love to do some new music. Oh, Gareth, coming up, kind of kick them into gear.
It is a struggle, and it's no one's fault particularly either, is it? Because of where everyone's based, we don't all just do the South. We all do other things, and because of the situation of what we're seen as well. How much of a set? I remember drummer Dave was talking to me about the Specials when their new album came out, and he was saying, well, they've really got 10 to 15% of their set that they can play around with. They could do some rare old tracks that aren't as well known that they might like, the band might like, or they can do the brand new stuff, and that's where the new album stuff, and to promote that comes in. But it's really only that portion of your set that you can play with, because otherwise you're going to be it's going to be detrimental to what the audience are expecting of you.
Yeah, very much the case. And people do want to hear 2 or 3 new tracks if there is anything. But you're right, there would be seats being pulled off the floor if Perfect 10 wasn't played, or Don't Marry Her.
Yeah. Talking about your other love, you did touch on it earlier. I've always said, and I've said it in interviews myself, that jazz singing is something that you're really, really passionate about. And it's not something that a lot of people know you're passionate about necessarily until recently, because you've been doing more on social media with Southern Beauty, etc. I really, really enjoyed, as you know, recording with you and the show we did. How big a part has the love of jazz and Ella Fitzgerald and that type of stuff? How big a role has that played in your singing development?
Well, I've been with my husband now for almost 30 years, and he is the one to thank really for introducing me to jazz. We were at university, and it was a lazy sunny day, and we were listening to Ella and Louis. Their albums are phenomenal, and that was my first real touching my toe in the water and playing around with jazz. And from there it kind of led on to being introduced to Julie London and Billie Holiday, and it was just phenomenal. It's very much female orientated, apart from like the crooners. Harry Connick Jr. we were always big fans of anyway.
Yeah, me too.
It always felt like Michael Bublé was riding on his coattails, because almost Connick got there too early, I think.
The weird one with him, I was talking with Morgan, Sinatra singer Morgan, about this, and he's a massive early Harry Connick Jr. fan, and I like pretty much all of Harry Connick stuff, even the more pop stuff and the New Orleans funk sort of stuff he did, because obviously I'm into that type of music as a player myself. But as he went off in that kind of, you could argue, slightly self-indulgent direction, which I think he was entitled to do because he'd had good success with When Harry Met Sally, etc. That was when Bublé kind of came along and stole the thunder as the modern day crooner, the modern Sinatra, that kind of role.
Yeah, very much so. I've always joked that obviously there's 2 reasons why I'd like to be Mrs. Bublé. One being he's a lovely bloke. I love him to bits and I've seen him a few times now. But also, there's not really a female crooner out there yet who's really done that and touched people and reached out. But I always associate jazz as kind of a bit like a duvet. You wrap yourself in it and it comforts you and it just feels good, rather than other extreme emotions you might experience with other types of music. And it's just always been something that has always made me feel really grounded and really comfortable and snug. Even like classic singers like Doris Day, her voice is just like butter to me. It's just stunning. And I will listen to a few male singers, but it's for me, it's female all the way, female jazz singers, and I always have loved them, and only thanks to the introduction from my husband. And it's a big part of my life, and dare I say it, I don't think it's a very ageist industry in the jazz world. So as a vocalist, I'm hoping it might prolong any option for me to continue to sing, and also at the same time continue to do something that I absolutely love.
Well, on that note, we're going to play one of the tracks that we did for my debut album, As Long As I'm Singing. We did two. One was I think you picked one. I think you picked both of them, actually. I think
I did, yeah.
I think you ended up picking both of them. And this first tune that we recorded, I was really, really pleased with the sort of chemistry we recreated, like, with the Ella and Louis sort of vibe, because it was based on a version. Although it had some of the Jamie Cullum version bits in it in the arrangement, it was based on a version that they recorded together, and it's Can't We Be Friends?
I thought I found the man of my dreams. Now it seems this is how the story ends. He's going to turn me down and say, can we be friends?
Oh, I thought for once it couldn't go wrong. Not for long, I can see the way this ends. She's gonna turn me down and say, can't we be friends?
Never again. Through with love, through with men. They play their game without shame. And who's to blame?
I thought I found a girl I could trust. What a bust, and this is how the story ends. She's gonna turn me down and say, can't we be friends?
Yes, I thought I knew the wheat from the chaff. What a laugh, this is how the story ends. I let him turn me down and say, can we be friends?
I acted like a kid at school. What a fool, I can see the way this ends. I'll let her turn me down and say, can't we be friends?
Oh, why should I care, though he gave me the air?
Why should I cry and sigh and wonder why?
I should have seen the signal to stop. What a flop, this is how the story ends. He's going to turn me down and say, can we be friends?
What should I care, though she gave me the air?
And why should I cry, ever sigh and wonder why? I should have seen the signal to stop.
What a flop, this is how the story ends.
I let him turn me down and say, can we be, 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 can we be friends?
So, Can't We Be Friends there from As Long As I'm Singing. Do check it out. Little shameless self-plug there. During the lockdown period, obviously, as I say, I'm pursuing the podcast, doing more voiceover work, or at least looking at getting into it anyway, the radio show. A kind of non-music, if you like, sideline, although it is music related, because you did correct me on this the other day, is the children's book side of things. Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so not so much children's books, but children's music.
I know,
So,
I did think that as I said it. I thought you corrected on me, then I got it wrong again, sorry.
I think when you've had children, your goalposts change slightly, and I mean this in a purely healthy way. It's quite a selfish scenario when you've got no kids. You just everything's focused towards your goals and your aims. And when my kids came along, obviously my perspective changed, and I took my oldest now to a music class run by a lady called Action Amanda, and my daughter loved it so much. And this woman is a powerhouse of networking. She's just always talking to people, trying to work out how, especially women, you can support each other going forward once you've had children. So we got talking at one of her classes, and I mentioned I was a singer, and that was the beginning. 13 years later, we've done 3 albums together. It's been great, and there really is no money in it, but for me it's a passion, because it's educating kids in a fun way. It's keeping them active. It kind of crosses basic principles that they need to learn. I don't know, principles of being polite, please and thank yous, washing your hands, or brushing your teeth, or getting yourself dressed.
Very prevalent at the moment as well.
Yeah, the irony is in 2016 we wrote a song called Wash Your Hands, and I completely forgot about it, and she called me up 2 months ago and just said, Alison, we're so stupid, we're sitting on this song, why aren't we doing anything about it? So where are we now? It's the date is it today? The 16th of April, Thursday 16th. So tomorrow we're releasing the song Wash Your Hands. It's going through Horace Music, which I must thank you, Gareth.
Oh yeah, good. I'm glad did you get on all right with it?
Yeah, and they've really helped actually. They've jumped on board. They're doing all the PR for it, and the idea is that a large percentage of the money is going to go to a charity which helps children who are in care, in hospital care. So yeah, we're really, really proud of that. So that comes out tomorrow, and we'll be pushing that. And in the lockdown, I've also been working with Amanda to we've written a song about confidence, because she was very conscious that children in this climate might feel unnerved, insecure, confused, and she wanted to make sure that they knew that they could be confident and strong and resilient. And she said, would I write a song for that? So I wrote the lyrics, and I met over Zoom a pianist, and we chatted about it, and he went away and penned a lovely song, very kind of Frozen style.
Oh right, yeah, that would hit that demographic very nicely as well. Yeah,
and we've done a video, we've done a remote video, all of the people involved. We've videoed ourselves in our day-to-day life within the house, within lockdown, and it's been compiled. And I saw the first cut today, and it looks really good. And no matter what's going on, we need to make sure the kids at the end of the day don't come out of this traumatized. And I think this song is really going to help, hopefully, encourage them to be resilient and confident. So yeah, that's what I've been busy doing.
So you've been making use of the lockdown, yeah. Well, that's good. I think certain musicians do and certain don't. I've definitely got a sort of 50-50 split amongst my music fraternity of some people who are really kind of struggling with it and don't know what to do with themselves, and then the other half who have, it's not really affected them. Of course it has financially and mentally, but they are making use of the time and trying to see the best in the situation. Yeah,
and this whole remote working, I mean, it's highlighted who's got home studios, and it's certainly made it easier for some people. I've done plenty. I've even started buying things for my desktop music software. So watch this space.
Excellent. Well, Ali, that's been fantastic to talk to you. Covered some topics that we don't normally cover when we're on the road, and we're sort of on and off stage, and turn this up, turn this down, in the sound check. So been great to catch up on a few things there, and thank you so much for your time.
No worries, you take care.
Thank you so much for joining me for the second episode of On the Road With. My guest this time was Alison Wheeler, and firstly I'd like to say a massive thank you to Alison for giving up her time for the interview. It was a real wide-ranging conversation and an absolute pleasure for me. If you like what you're hearing, please do follow and subscribe wherever you get your podcast fix. I'm now going to play you out with Southern Beauty's version of Rotterdam. Take care now. Bye-bye.
In the women tuck their hair like they're trying to prove it won't fall out. And all the men are gargoyles, dip long enough. place is pickled. The people are pickles for sure. And no one knows if they've done more here than they ever would do in a jar. This could be Rotterdam or anywhere, Liverpool or Rome, 'cause Rotterdam is anywhere, anywhere alone, anywhere alone. And everyone is blonde, and everyone is beautiful. And when blonde and beautiful are multiple, they become so dull and dutiful. And when faced with dull and dutiful, they fire at one and flares. Battle cocky personality with red underwears. This could be Rotterdam or anywhere, Liverpool or Rome, 'cause Rotterdam is anywhere, anywhere alone, anywhere alone. The whole place is pickled. The people are pickles for sure. And no one knows if they're dumb or here than they ever would do in a jar. This could be Rotterdam or anywhere, Liverpool or Rome, 'cause Rotterdam